Good evening, Fit&Vital Life Transformation Masterclass VIP group. If anyone is tuning in live, can you please let me know if you can hear me and what the sound quality is like? Got my microphone in. I just want to make sure that the sound quality is good before I get started. So if you're coming in live, just say hello and let me know you can hear me. Danielle, welcome. Tony, welcome. If you can let me know, girls, if the sound quality is okay, if you can hear me. And as soon as I know it is, I'll start the presentation. Karen, welcome. Got a million tabs open at once. The miracle this is actually streaming. It's an everyday occurrence for my my laptop. Leslie, Suzanne, welcome. Girls, can someone let me know if you can hear me okay? If no one comments, I assume you can't hear me. Actually, no, I'll do it. I'll just go into the group. Hang on. Doesn't matter. Danielle said she can hear me. Excellent. Let's just see what it sounds like. Can you please let me know if you can hear me and what the sound quality is like once the miracle this is actually streaming. Sarah, welcome. Everyday occurrence for my laptop. Suzanne, welcome. Girls, can someone let me know? Sounds a little bit better. Okay, I'll get cracking. So, I'm not going to take up too much of your time this evening. I just want to go through what I've been talking about through the week in relation to packaged goods and how they are killing your weight loss goals. First of all, you might be wondering who I am. My name is Sean Leach, and I have driven women build more confidence, increase fitness, become even stronger, and get in shape that they are proud of. And you might be wondering why the hell should I listen to what you have to say? Well, I've been qualified exercise professional to teach this stuff for over 2 years. And I've been studying health and fitness since I was 18 years old. Pretty much from college onwards, I've always had a massive passion about this stuff, and I've done a lot of my own research, a lot of my own learning, self-taught, and a lot of this stuff, and really learned from experience and trial and error with myself, and also with coaching hundreds of women over the past 2 years as well. So I'm just going to start with what is refined sugar. So in a nutshell, sugar provides energy. You don't get excited and thinking that you can just chuck a million sweets down your neck and think that that's okay because it gives you energy. The downside to that is it gives a huge influx of a blood sugar, a big sugar rush, a big buzz, followed by a crash. And the reason being is because sugar has no nutritional value, which means that your body just uses it for energy, processes it, and it eliminates it. It can cause diabetes. It has been linked to obesity, and it is found in packaged goods and processed goods as well, which I will touch on very, very soon. In a nutshell, refined sugar, what a lot of people don't know, is actually stored as body fat until it can be used. So if you think about how much sweets, cakes, biscuits you may or may not eat throughout the week, and then compare that to the type of activity you do or how much activity you do, bearing in mind that sugar is energy, and if it can't be used straight away in the form of activity, then it has no choice but to just be stored until it can't be used. It doesn't just evaporate out of your body. It has to be stored until it can't be used later on as energy. And it puts a lot of strain on the body to process and eliminate sugar. Okay, so that's just a bit of a brief overview on what refined sugar is. Refined sugars, we all know, are bad in excess of biscuits, cakes, sweets, ice cream, microwave meals. Obviously, this is the stuff we already know. But what you may not know is the sugars that are hidden in healthy foods. So I've just took this straight from Asda. There's millions of examples, and I was going to go into the shops and take photos and what have you, but I just thought it would be easier to go into Asda. So this is actually of Actimel yogurt. I will go into the ins and outs of all this stuff very, very shortly. What's important to note is if you look into the ingredients list, sugar, liquid sugar, sucrose is like fourth in. And also, if you notice, dextrose as well. Now, this is a healthy product for your gut. It's advertised as something you should be drinking. As it's even, look, it's in probiotic and heart health section of ASDA, but it is packed with sugar, with something which they don't elaborate on the front of the packets, which I'll also touch on very, very shortly. Another example, this one is an Arla high in protein yogurt. Sugar is 1, 2, 3 listed on the ingredients list. I'll go into the whole high protein foods in a moment, but basically if something's high in protein or something gives a health benefit at the front of it, don't just assume that therefore that is a healthy product and that's okay to eat just because it's high in protein at the top, which this particular yogurt is, doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be good for you. Weetabix, well known as a very bog standard breakfast, healthy one at that as well. And this is as a protein boosted one. Again, it's highly advertised. It has protein in. It's a benefit to the consumer. That's what they're getting at. But yet again, 1, 2, 3 ingredients in, it has sugar inside. And again, just because it is free of gluten, which is also another health benefit that is advertised by these products and is plastered all over the front of them. Again, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily good for you, because again, on the right-hand side, maize and sugar straight away, dextrose straight away, and I will touch on what dextrose is very, very soon. And this is the last example here, is a Weight Watchers protein raspberry bar. Again, on the right-hand side, sugar you'll see about 6 of the way in. It also has sweeteners in as well. So just because the product appears healthy on the front, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is healthy. Very, very important to look on the ingredients list more than anything else, which is what I'll be elaborating on very shortly. So don't be fooled by the box front, and I hopefully will be able to play this video. Please. Hang on. That's annoying. That was a video of me in B&M's this year. It was a video of me in B&M's, and I don't know if you've seen, but Mo Farah has released a brand of cereals and protein cookies and all this kind of junk. And it's advertised on the front. I'll post this into the group tomorrow. It's advertised. Oh, hang on, there's a play button. Here we are. This took a while to load up. I don't know if you can hear that on the volume. But there you go, low in sugar on the front. Wheat biscuits. I'll touch on what these green bits mean in a moment. But on the back, we'll scroll through the ingredients list. And sugar is added inside the ingredients list when it is advertised in the front, low in sugar. And I'll explain why that is in a moment. Right, now I can't get past this stupid slide. Okay, so here's the problem. Here's the problem with the products and the advertisement of sugars in the front. So I've used some red arrows to illustrate a typical product. Here's a super noodles packet, but it can be used for many, many different products, if not all of them, depend on how it's displayed on the nutritional value in terms of what's added into it. But when they tell you that it's low in sugars on the front of the packet, this is what I told you in my last video. What they're talking about is they're talking about the sugars that's in the carbohydrates. So out of the amount of carbohydrates that is inside the super noodles, 2.3 grams of those carbohydrates form sugars, and the rest are complex carbohydrates. If you don't know what they are, I can elaborate them at some other video. And if you look at the very end red arrow, that's what that's illustrating there. Carbohydrate of which sugars 2.3 grams. So that's basically telling you that, look, this is low in sugar because there's 2.3 grams of sugars in that packet. That is correct, but only from the carbohydrate source. Oh, I was supposed to have a screenshot of the, anyway, the screenshot of the packet was actually had added sugar in. So what this low sugar thing here, like I say, as you can see there in the right-hand corner, is 2.3 grams of the carbohydrates that's in, but added on top of that is sugar that's inside the ingredients list, which I've been showing you just beforehand. So OSE, whenever you see words like fructose, lactose, dextrose, anything that ends in O's is actually a sugar as well. you noticed on some of them products before, there was dextrose that was in one of them. Lactose is found in milk. Fructose is a fruit sugar. And this is straight from the NHS website, and here's a list of the ingredients, different forms of sugar they can come in through. So glucose, whenever you see these, the product has sugar in. I mean, if you think about the sheer quantity of stuff that's added in a lot of packaged goods, most of them are just high sugar foods, which is really sacrificing your weight loss results. If you're struggling to lose weight and eat a lot of packaged goods on the go, it's a good opportunity to have a look at these goods and have a look at what's in them, because you might be thinking that you're eating well because they're labeled well, like for example Weight Watchers or Naked or whatever. Like, I don't know exactly which product, but if you have a look on them, they've probably got some hidden sugars in them which could be affecting your weight loss goals, which is why I recommend clean eating as much as possible, and I will touch on that very soon. And yeah, if you can see down the bottom here how much sugar. Added sugar shouldn't make up any more than 5% of calorie intake. It's about 30 grams of sugar a day. Very, very, very low amounts. And you've also got to watch out where it's placed. Ingredients on the back of products are listed in order of the quantity in the product. If anything ended in OSC or anything listed in the slide that I've just showed you is in the first 5 listed ingredients, it's high enough to avoid. So if you think about, if you see dextrose and sugar, like we did in, where was it? Well, here in this Actimel yogurt, sugar and sucrose is in the 5. What we got here, sugar first 5 in high protein yogurt, sugar first 5 in Weetabix, sugar and dextrose in a gluten-free box of cornflakes. So if you're consuming that product, it's already high in sugar, and then to add on top of that, it has carbohydrates, 2.5 grams of sugar as well. So it's a lot of sugar that you're taking in just that bowl of cereal, for example. And then you've got your milk to put on top of that as well, which is also a sugar in the form of lactose. So you've really got to be very careful about the amount of sugar that you're putting in and avoid anything, especially if it's in the first 5 listed. Then that means it's high enough to avoid. I read this on the radio, I heard this on the radio. The kids are getting double an adult amount of sugar that's supposed to see it by lunchtime. And you think about it, it's not surprising. A bowl of cereal, just a typical bowl of cereal, I've just seen there, Weetabix, for example. You know, that's perceived to be a fairly healthy Weetabix, especially if you have high in protein blasted on the front of it. Okay, so there's sugar added in there. Then on top of that, you pour in sugar, which is milk and lactose. And then they've got a snack at lunchtime, which might be a frube or a yogurt with an apple. And then maybe they'll have their lunch with some sweets or some crisps. And then in between, keeping them occupied, they've got more crisps, more bars, more sweets. Maybe there's a school pudding, such as a cake and custard. It's not at all surprising that obesity rates are through the roof in this country, and kids are getting a lot of sugar right before they even hit lunchtime. It's pretty scary. And this is why I'm doing this video, because it needs highlighted that there's sugar everywhere. And you've got to be very, 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 very careful with what you're picking up and what you're eating, because all these perceived to be healthy things, I mean, there's many, many more examples, by the way. I could spend all afternoon screenshotting the products, but I just wanted to pick a couple of handfuls that that you can relate to and recognize. So yeah, it's very important to stay away from these type of packaged goods as much as you can to keep your sugar down, bearing in mind that the NHS recommend that the daily amount should be no more than 30 grams of added sugar. And it even says here that fruit juice and honey can also count as added sugars, or they are sometimes added to food to sweetener. So you think about some yogurts, flavored yogurts, they're going to have a sweetened taste because they've got fruit juice in or fruit concentrate. All this kind of stuff is just more sugar. Best to keep things plain and natural. And also a good point as well is just because a low fat, late at night, just because a low fat product, or just because a product is labeled low fat, doesn't mean it can't add fat. Bearing in mind what I mentioned before, if you're taking in too much sugar to the body, it can only process so much. And if it's got too much to deal with and you're not burning that off through activity, remember, sugar has no nutritional value whatsoever, which means it provides nothing good for your body other than energy. If you're sitting around not doing much, then all this energy inside of your body just has to get stored away until it can be used as energy. And it puts a lot of strain on your body in the process of doing that as well. So it doesn't. It's often misconceived that fat products or products that are high in fat are bad for you. And it's not necessarily the case. Look at this one, for example. This is a low-fat Activia yogurt. Again, good for your good health. I'm sitting here in my chair doing inverted commas. And it's got sugar listed in the first 5 ingredients right off the bat. And it's also got sugar again, oat flakes, sugar again, and then dextrose right at the end. Not very much, but even still, and honey as well. And this is a low-fat product, and people will go crazy for low-fat products. This is one example, but there'll be many, many more labeled low-fat products. People think they're okay to eat, and you can go crazy on them because they're low-fat, but they're high in sugar, and all this sugar is causing body fat anyway. So it doesn't make any sense. You've got to be more mindful. You've got to pay attention to what you're eating, and don't get sucked into the fact that it's saying low-fat. I'm going to touch a little bit more on low-fat anyway, and fat in general, and how it's not actually as bad as what people think. It's actually essential, and that's what I'm going to touch on now. So fats, these are cold, hard fat facts. Fats are building blocks for the cells in our bodies, which means that we cannot literally function without fat. Cells make up our bodies. They play a key role in hormone production. The type of fats we eat are important, and below I've got a description of 2 different types of fats we need and why. Essential fatty acids are fats that our body are unable to manufacture. Therefore, we must acquire them from our dietary sources. And this is taken from one of my favorite books, How to Eat, Move and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. You should not avoid these 2 fats, and here's why. 2 different types of fatty acids. Remember, essential fatty acids are ones that we need to acquire because our body doesn't produce them. And if we don't acquire them, we are sabotaging the function of our body, our cells, and our hormones, which make up who we are and what we do and how we go about our daily lives. Omega-3, these are found in green leafy fish. You've probably heard of these, and comparatively small amounts in eggs, walnuts, and animal meats. Again, I took this from my favorite book, How to Eat, Move and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. Omega-6 essential fatty acids are found in grain products, meat, and commonly used cooking oils such as sunflower oil. Here's a summary of other fats and where they come from. Saturated fats often get a hugely bad name, but they make up, again, the cells of our body. We should actually be aiming to get about 20 grams of saturated fat in, and they come mainly from animal meats. They enhance our immune system, protect our liver from toxins such as sugar, and they're needed for the growth of bones. Kids, babies, any parents here listening to this, what do you need to feed your kids to grow? Fats and proteins. So why the hell as adults do we feel as though we need to avoid them? Monosaturated fats. Olive oil, almonds, avocado, and cashews. Also, cholesterol gives cells our stiffness and stability. They act as an antioxidant and needed for proper function of receptors in the brain. And they are found mainly from animal products. Yes, high amounts of cholesterol can be bad, or the wrong type of cholesterol can be bad, but we need a level of fat. If we're walking around trying to avoid all forms of fat like the plague, like I say, we're sabotaging our body with a lack of nutrients, and instead we're filling our body full of sugar. These are the fats to avoid, though. If you have a little read of this while I grab a drink of water real quick. Trans fatty acids, mainly from poor hydrogenated oils and takeaways. I took this from my clean eating guide, this last little bit, which I'll touch on very shortly in the action points, which are now. So the action items are: check the label for ingredients ending in OSE. Always check the labels. Never mind looking at how much fat's in there or how much protein's in there. You need to be looking at how much sugar's in there, how much crap is being added into the product, which is sabotaging your results. Like I say, if you want for picking up things on the go, but your goal is also to lose weight and you're struggling to get that weight loss and you're trying to figure out why. How am I losing weight when I'm having Slimming World ready meals, or eating healthy bars, low fat this, low fat that? Well, have a look at the products, have a look at the ingredients list, and you'll have a massive eye opener to what's in there, and it'll answer a lot of your questions. Eat most foods from the earth for best results. So the best way to go about things, which is what I advise all my clients to do, is follow the 80-20 rule, which basically means 80% of the time eat foods that are fresh, come from the earth, and aren't packaged and added with crap. And you've got 20% of the time where you're obviously going to want to enjoy yourself, and you will, and you should enjoy yourself, and you can enjoy the odd treat. I do, everyone does, everyone should. But when you're eating too much crap, more crap than good stuff, then obviously that's out of balance, and obviously that's what's going to cause weight gain or the weight fluctuations. Or if you're having equal amounts of crap and good, then it's a 50-50 balance and you're not moving anywhere. So cut back on packaged goods, especially ones with added sugar. Use almond milk on cereals to cut back on sugar. I'm a massive cereal lover. I absolutely love cereal. But I was, unfortunately, it killed me when I looked in that. I used to go around as I did a video a while back in Sainsbury's where I went, I did a whole video where I was turning the package back, recording the ingredients of all my favourite cereals. Every single one of them had loads of added sugar. And then you're pouring milk on top of them, and it's just more and more sugar. And I love cereal, but I've had to cut back massively on them simply because they're full of gluten, which doesn't work very well for me either. But then the added sugar as well. I'm the kind of person who puts on weight easy, so I've got to be careful about what I eat. Unfortunately, cereals is something I love, but you really have to pay attention to that one because that's one of the main ones which has got a lot of sugar added in. Even the perceived healthy looking ones on the front, like the mueslis and all that kind of stuff, a lot of them have also got added sugar in. And use natural, organic, unflavoured yogurts. And my recommendation is always Your Valley yogurts. So I think that's it. I'm going to try and see if there's any questions. Deb, Janet, Nat, Sharon, Paula, Debbie, Paul, Gillian, Nazreen, Leanne, Fiona, Angela, Kelly, Nicola, Cheryl. Welcome everyone. If you're still on live. If anyone's got any questions, please pop them in. I'm gonna, if I can change me